puzzles, bananas, all of that put away. A quick apology for the delay. And it's well and truly time to get this game underway. Don't you think that was a fantastic little...
That was really good.
Yeah, I know.
Nice
I spit bars, apparently. And well, yeah, no, we're about to be heading into the second game of today. G2 versus Tricked. It's been hyped up. It's been hyped up through the roof because of how long this delay's been. Everyone's been waiting. Everyone's on the edge of their seat. And I can't wait to get this started.
Yeah, I think we're only seconds away from starting this game. We already had the knife round. G2 are going to be starting on the CT side. Tricked on a T side. I think this could be really good for Tricked, in my opinion, because then they can try to dictate the pace of the game. Because when you're playing against a team that are better than you individually, you always want to control the other parts of the game. And the pace of the game could be one of those things that Tricked could need. But then again, it is G2. Kenny S on that CT orb. Like, there's not much you can do. And I think we're ready now to jump straight into the game for the pistol round between these two teams.
Yeah, and we know who's loyal out there in the audience because who stayed to watch G2 play? There we go. That's how we can tell them. Those guys stayed. That's the people who stayed. Sweet. As we head now into the first round, we can see G2, as we said, starting things off on the CT side. Tricked. Well, they can be over on the T side. They got some utility to play around with on the back of Hunden. And what a camera angle. Already we can see that actually Tricked, they've started things off fairly slowly, making their way up through alt mid. Now exerting some pressure over towards apartments. They do leave Freeze behind to watch any aggression down from Banana. As for the rest of G2, however, well, they're going to be taking things just as passively. You can see very, very passive position coming in over towards both pit and long, respectively. And well, now the push actually looking like it's going to be on the way towards this A site. Very, very quick. Lots of aggression. No time to take things slow as Borup, Hunden, and Asilian out towards a go-in swinging. MBK got to try and hold the fort, but gets very little done as he goes down. And now the Frenchman left to try and claw back this A bomb site as they come in. 2v3 in the retake. Bomb's going to go down, but in comes Body, taking heads off as he makes his way up from Boiler. Bomb taken away. They've got to be quicker. They don't have a kit to play around with. And Body trying to connect these shots. Does have shocks. The headshot machine beside him as they make their way into the site. But it's Borup to find one, and Hunden gets the other. That's going to be Tricked to find the pistol, and a fantastic start there for the Danes.
I actually really like the way that G2 was set up on the CT side, to be honest, because they were... Like, it seems like they had the read on Trick, knew exactly what they were going to do in that pistol round. They had 3 CTs situated on the A bomb side, 1 in the CT for rotation, and only 1 guy playing B. That means that they know Trick are going to go A. Trick went A, but won a lot of the duels, and that's the one thing that you can give to Trick in this one. It was really well executed, and that put them in a position where they could win the duels against players that are usually better aim-wise than them. So really nice setup, helping Trick to kind of like make that difference between the two teams aim-wise, make that smaller thanks to the execution. Right now, it's going to be 2 scouts. Let's see if Nathan can get anything done. No, you'll be shut down.
Yeah, MBK not going to live to fight another day. Is now the bomb pushing up towards long. All of this falls onto Body. He's going to try and do the damage, but instead it's Borup to find the frag. Trick looking to try and take this round away once again. Hunden watching the flank. That does mean that Apex gets caught off guard, and he will go down. Shocks and Kenny S, they find themselves 2v5. Freeze and Borup have been tagged down low, however. Bomb isn't down just yet, although it is about to be. And Hunden, he's quite isolated all the way out here, but it doesn't matter. Living his life in isolation, he only has headshots and Shoxy. And he does pick up that frag. It's all on Kenny, 1v5, a deagle in hand. Can he make it work? No, he can't.
Nope. Shut down, of course, as you expect. With those 2 scouts, those are the real big opportunity to get anything done in this round. And when you get instantly shut down on the first one and the second one misses 3 shots from pit, there's not much you can do in that round, because then your 2 main focuses on getting some done in that round is simply eliminated. So right now they're going to do a full eco. Kenny S, of course, on 2750, saving up that AWP. The rest of the team, of course, just saving up their usual stuff. It's going to be a stack towards B. And let's see here, 4 UMPs, of course, for Tricked. Utilizing that money, don't want to upgrade too early because they know they're up against pistol. So all choices are correctly made from both teams, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah, they're just looking to make some cash. And with everyone on G2 locked inside this B bomb, so actually it could do some damage to these players with the UMPs. The flip side of things is that Tricked could pick up 5 frags on the back of these UMP players and make a lot of money, but they're just stacked up for the time being. Bomb still over towards A. Freeze taking the head off of Shocks, and in comes the tag as well. And nowhere to drop Apex. Still got a lot of work to do in towards this B bomb site. Little do they know it as the UMP just roars to life, cutting through these fleshy, unarmored opponents. It's not looking too great. Kenny doesn't want to go down without a fight. It's him and MBK. They combine, and they do actually find 2 frags between them. So that's a decent bit of damage done for the side of G2. They want to try and actually... I mean, they could try and do a little bit more. They've got 2 UMPs. You could save these up, right? I mean, they're not going to be terrible into round 4,
definitely
right?
not.
Especially when you consider how strong it is and viable it is in the meta to keep them.
Exactly, and Nathan or NBK is on 14 HP. Kenny S has a smoke as well, so there's definitely an argument to be made for saving these weapons and prepping for the long game economically for G2, and I think it's the correct choice. Right now, Asilian and Hunden could be the ones going for the hunt here, and that's exactly what Asilian is doing, picking up the first one, spotting the second one, getting both of them down, and that is impressive from the young Dane, picking up the 3rd round in a row. But Tricked, of course, as we expect, winning that pistol, you get that 3-0 start 9 out of 10 times. So G2 Esports, of course, behind with 3 rounds, but it's nothing that we wouldn't expect after that pistol round win from Tricked. So this is their time.
Yeah,
this is when they show their A game.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where they can finally put a stop to the tyranny that is Tricked thus far. 3-0 lead for the Danes early on, but now the Frenchmen can have their resurgence. And already looking down mid, it's the man himself, Kenny S. Trying to open things up. No one's going to be walking in with his crosshair just yet, but as he does adjust to look over towards alt mid, I'll be able to find something onto Asilian, who's actually worked his way up in towards apartments for the time being. Bomb going to be hot on their heels, looking to rejoin the rest of the crew. Here's a tag and a frizz. Everyone wants Banana, just watching this for the time being, waiting for any aggression to come out from G2, but a good read thus far as they rotate shocks around 4 players now towards this A-bomb site. Although just as you say that, Tricked actually rotating these players off and instead looking like they might duck over and in towards B. Body's going to find himself here alone, only has a Famas to play, but his actual ability to hold down this B bomb site on his own in this anchor role is something that I think is phenomenal on this map, and it's something I always have to give him credit for. Definitely want to keep an eye on as the push is about to come on in. And well, the utility being lined up. Gonna head in now, and this is where Body's got to step up to try and keep them at the site. Just gonna fall back through the smoke. We're gonna see a 5-on-5 retake. The bomb's gonna go down as the Danes charge into the site, but not before Freeze finds one out on a Shocks to give them that early man advantage. The rotate is coming on round, but it's taken a while. MBK still miles, leaps and bounds away as he rotates in, but already he's looking like he might commit to a save here.
Oh yeah, if they don't get an opening right now into the bomb site, they should save, and that's exactly what they're doing. There's not much that can be done when you gamble on the A bomb site like that, like G2 does in this round, where they stack almost 4 players toward the side and only Body on that opposing side, because if the execute is good from Tricked, and it was with all the smokes just pushing him out of the side, he can't buy any time either, because usually in a situation like that, you would like Body to get 1 kill and buy time and then eventually maybe get a second and or die, but he can't do any of that because he's just smoked out due to the fact that the execute is on point, the smoke's on point. And there's not much that can be done from G2 in this position. And I think the correct choice is to save, but look at that, no! Hunden comes in and steals 2 frags away from them. And that was not the way that round should have gone. Definitely not in the end. They were looking to save, and they were looking towards Arch. They forget about Short and just gets absolutely wrecked by Hunden, who comes in and steals 2 away.
Yeah, at this point, it's not looking too great for G2. That could have been, they would have had a full investment into this round. They would have had, 1 player with a little bit less than they would have liked, could have dropped the UMP. Instead, it's all on MBK. And right now, G2, they find themselves on the back foot fairly heavily, because if Tricked pick this one up, they are going to find themselves 5-0.
Oh, yeah.
The money on the side of G2 will be able to sustain the buy, but they won't have anything too incredibly strong. They won't have the AWP on Kenny. They'll be missing a lot of the basic foundations we've seen them have, such as in that last round. And especially, the gamble of going to save is normally something you could expect them to get away with. But Trick, they play it perfectly. They go in hunting. This time, well, there are 4 players once again over towards this A-bomb site. Shocks playing the float roll over towards Speedway, can very quickly rotate in between both B and that A-bomb site, but it's Asilian to find the first. The rifle of MBK goes down. The Frenchmen going to find themselves on the back foot once again as this round kicks off, all going the way of Tricked out through mid. Body does find one in return, though. One too easy tag over towards that B bomb site. Freeze is rotated on round, going to be picking up the bomb, and it looks like they're going to commit out towards A. Now, there are 3 players here for G2, so this is where they could find some fairly heavy French resistance in towards this A bomb site. Kenny is going to go down, but it's Apex in pit to try and rain death from afar. Borup going to say no to that and finds the headshot. Now it's all on Body. 1 versus 3, rotating all the way around from Banana, grabs himself an AK. At this point, it wouldn't surprise me if we just see him save it, but that's going to mean Tricked could easily go 5-0.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think he's going to try see if he can get 1 opening and then see if he can work off that. It is a bit of a stretch when he doesn't have any utility or any armor, so he realizes, okay, I can go for the pre-fire, But that doesn't work out, so now he's just going for the exit frags, looking to save this AK and bring it into the next round because, well, the AK is pretty strong, so having that on the CT side is not a bad option whatsoever. So it was a good start from Trick. G2 having a tough time, but then again, everything has gone perfect for Trick so far.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't really dealt with any negative stuff so far in this game, so I guess when G2 starts running and Kenny starts killing people, Buddy starts getting frags and Shocks does as well, I think that's when Trick will be, like, pressured. They haven't been pressured yet, and that's the one thing that I missed from this, like, early lead to say something could be really in the making here for Trick, because I don't believe that they have the mental strength to really, like, counter G2 when G2 are firing, which they haven't been yet. When that happens, I'll be glad to say good stuff about Trick.
Yeah.
So far, a 5-0 lead, yes, but G2 has still, like, many rounds to go. They can easily come back into this game, and that's the beginning.
Yeah, here we go. It's Shocks to find the first. No one there to trade things out, and now the aggression coming in from Trick as they desperately try and claw something back, but they might opt to play things safe. Hunden has pushed on up. Freeze is going to be watching the push up through mid. He does have his attack here to try and trade things out. Smoke goes down, and that's going to render Shocks useless over in CT, but he's already found the first as the Frenchmen try and pull a bit of a comeback here to equalize out this scoreline best they can. And, well, Trick waiting with bated breath. Now throwing their utility in towards this B-bomb site. Body's here alone, and as we said, the rotate is going to be coming on around from Shocks, but he's still smoked off. Body's got to do some serious work. It only gets one before Burrup is quick to find the trade. And while the bomb is going to be going down any second now, will be the man advantage still in favor of G2, but they're locked out the site. The smokes have rained through. MBK is very late on the rotate yet again in towards this B bomb site.
They need an opening now from Kenny, as this is going to be very, very hard for them to retake because that coffin smoke is just blocking everything off. Freeze can hold it down right now when the smoke disappears. Let's see here, the duels will be coming in soon.
Freeze gonna miss that opening shot. Looks for the second, but Apex quick to remedy his affliction. It's all on Hunden in from Bernarda, but he falls to Kenny, who goes in swinging, and there is G2 waking on up. They pick up that first round on the back of the double AWPs.
Yeah.
Kenny S and Shocks.
And that was what I was talking about. This is what Trick haven't met yet. A Kenny that's actually playing onto his usual level. A team that is actually performing well. Getting these openings. Kenny getting the first one, Borb in the back. Quick scopes, get Hunden as well, and that's the end of that clutch round. So Kenny, of course, the big star of G2, stepping up, bringing it back on the board. 1-5 with the scoreline. Still money on the Trick side, though, so it's not a big problem. They can get all the utility they want, can still buy up here, but G2 finally making their presence known. Let's see here, NBK with UMP 45, the rest of the team on M4s, and then that double AWP.
Yeah, trying to grab control of apps. Once again, it's Sicilian. He's here, and no one's really been trying to counteract this on the side of G2. Instead, they opt to play things a little bit more passively. Now, this time they do have the crossfire setup between Kenny and Apex. This is something that's, you know, they've kind of lost a lot of these opening duels out towards mid. Really been one of their downfalls in the last couple of rounds. But this time, with this crossfire between the AWP and the rifle, I do have a little more faith. Bodies rotated around once again over towards Speedway as they look to stack 4 players over towards this A bomb site. Bomb is here and on the back of Hunden. Freeze rotating around as well, joined by Easy Tag as they make their way up through mid. They're going to be walking into the stack of G2. 4 players here up towards A as they line up these smokes and flashes ready to go in.
Let's see if this execute can help them, because this is going to be a very hard situation for Trick to deal with. Counter smoke comes down in mid. Kenny S is ready short with the AWP.
Yeah, Apex is up close in mid as well, but he's going to be abandoned by Kenny. It doesn't matter as him and Body look to try and hold back the tide of Tricked. Hunden does get one in retort, however, but it's going to be quickly cancelled out by the might of G2. Asilian in mid, up close, touching the tip of his barrel.
Oh, he loses so much AP in that situation.
Yeah, he's going to be tagged down low. Right now, though, they haven't committed out towards A just yet. They've still got 3 players left alive. They're going to be the man disadvantage, but they've got plenty of utility to play around with out towards B if they do decide to switch things up. The only thing is Shoxy doesn't rotate off and there's no time left, so it will just be the save coming on in from Tricked, and that means G2 pick themselves up a second round as it goes 2 and 5. Maybe not the most you know, insane of rounds for G2 to pick up. The time just runs out. Maybe a bit of an anti-climax there.
But to be honest, like, you need to have those rounds. You need to have solid holds.
Important round. Not an exciting round.
Yeah, but you force a terrorist into a position where they can't do anything. And that's a really nice ability to have as a CT team, to force them into a situation where they don't want to be. If you can do that, then you can start controlling the pace, as I mentioned earlier, which is something that Trick, I think, could help them a lot, controlling the pace on the T side. If you force the Ts into saving like that, you're now suddenly controlling the pace. And that's a really, really good sign from G2. And Kenny, of course, always being on fire. And he's kind of like a catalyst for this team, because if Kenny goes off, the rest of the team follows.
And here he is watching the angle, but he misses that opening shot. Gonna take the re-peek, and Borup's gonna punish him for it. In comes MBK, wow, but Borup. No, there's no stopping this man. As Trick, they find 2 openers. And in a big way, this A site starts to crumble. It's all on Apex to hold it back, but Hunden's rotating around to go ahead and grab the bomb, which was dropped all the way down the bottom of mid. So Trick aren't going to be quick to capitalize on this just yet. They've rotated Shocks around, and actually, the delayed take in towards this A bomb site, and now wrapping potentially over towards B, could come back to benefit Trick in a very big way, as Body is here once again on his lonesome, isolated from the rest of the team. He finds himself standing here against impossible odds. All 5 members of Trick stacked up, ready to just try cut their way through this B bomb site, and Body is all that stands between them and getting that bomb down and finding a 6th round. He's got to try and buy time for the rotates already. You can see Shoxy's coming through, but Body hits the deck. Shox over and towards CT to try and do something, but no, he's just going to fall back with the AWP. They have to save, and that'll be Trick to find themselves a 6th round.
Yeah, definitely. I like the rig that Treat have right now in G2. They know they can go in and get something done, scoping out the A bomb side. After that, they know, okay, there's only going to be 1 guy on the B side, and that's something that G2 needs to change right now, or else Trick are going to take too much advantage of it, because we see they have their entries, they have their smokes and everything planned out, so they can take that bomb side without losses if there's only a single CT player there. So G2 definitely needs to read the game right now. Maybe even take a slight pause to maybe get control over some of these situations. Next round could be a pivotal one for them, so I would maybe see them use this time to talk about things, maybe even take a pause after this. It might be too early, but I definitely need them to get control over this B bomb side, because it's not working so far. And Apex even taking that duel and losing it.
You know, suddenly what would have been a fairly, you know, not an amazing buy, but a fairly comfortable buy. They would have had a nice bit of utility. You could have had that M4 dropped over from Apex. Now suddenly it becomes a lot more restricted. They do have a nice bit of utility behind them, but you've got the UMP up on MBK. You know, Shox doesn't really have a lot to play around with. If Apex had kept that M4, we could have just seen that a little bit more. Even the double AWP setup come back out, which has been working for them. Shox this time over towards Banana. Molotov'd out early on, and this is kind of something you spoke about a little bit, right? This Banana pressure and how they're going to try and apply it. They've been countering Shox almost perfectly, not allowing them to find these entries, but this time the Molotov has faded. Shox hasn't left the area just yet, so they're by no means out of danger. But he's just going to fall on back. They leave Body once again to solo B, as 3 members of Trick look to make their way out towards mid and potentially hit this A-bomb site.
This is an interesting way of playing Inferno, because right now they're just committing to the A bomb side hold. If that doesn't work, then they're committing to a full retake on the B bomb side. Okay, now Shox, almost like you heard what I said, and he now goes rotating back. Smoke comes in towards Arch. Kenny S is ready, not with an AWP this time around, but with an M4. When the push is actually not going to come, it's going to be the rotate once again. And this is where I think Shox might have read the situation, and he's already rotated. So now there are 2 players in CT. This could be the hold from G2.
Yeah, last time we saw G2 in this exact situation, they won the round, and they were able to do it just because of this crossfire. It means it's not all on Body, but Shox is going to be smoked out, so all of a sudden it basically is all on Body. He's going to go down in the flames. He dies a bit of a martyr, but he's still a hero as he does go down, finding one. It's all he had to do. Shox mops up a second, turning into a 3-on-3. He's got to do some serious work. Picking up the AK now in favor of the AWP, rotating back round to try and retake this site, but he's here alone for the most part as his team now only just pushing up in through CT. Shoxy to try and clear these angles. 2 players down Banana watching that bomb because it is planted for them out in the open. Shox going to find the first on the entry, but he's still got Asilian and Freeze left to worry about as they have the crossfire set up. And they can just bide time. MBK going to go down on the aggression. They find Asilian, but then there's Freeze, the troublemaker, the one to deny the defuse, and he gets a second as well. Down goes the hopes of G2 into that round, as Trick find a 7th. And at this point, Risk, you said it was going to be closer, but I don't think anyone expected this.
Oh, definitely not. But I have to say, Trick's executes have been so on point. That's the reason why they're winning this game so far, because as we saw, Shock's coming in to take that duel on the side. He's going to win that duel every single time. That didn't even look hard. But due to the fact that they have set up in perfect post-plant positions, they use the Molotovs to clear our body's position. They go get perfect smokes. They get freeze and a Cillian to the double crossfire setup in banana post-plant. Everything on the setup is so good for Trick. So, I don't know how GG should counter this. Right now they have an eco. Apex is trying really here with the P250, but getting taken out by Easy Tag. So, 4v3 and only pistols for G2.
Yeah, BK and Pip with a USP, rallying some shots downrange. Got a lot of work to do, and not really an ideal weapon to do it with. Body coming in from
Body
behind.
has the bomb.
Does get one, and as you said, he's dropped the bomb out in the open. Now they have to go ahead and get this. They do have weapons to play around with, but the point being is he can make this very costly for them here. And now as they come through, they should just take this all together, right? Be positioned to trade things out. At worst, he finds himself one more. That Molotov doesn't matter because of Cillian, as you said, perfect with the placement of the utility right now, and that'll be Trick to find themselves their 8. But now the buy comes in from G2, the pause comes out, and that just kind of shows what started off as this atmosphere of everyone kind of waiting for G2 to wake up has now become a very, very present sense of kind of worrying.
Definitely, and it's also something that the desk talked about for game 1 between Misfits and Na'Vi. When you have a big favorite, when the underdog, they get a good start, that can sometimes rattle the confidence of the big favorite, because then they start doubting themselves instead of thinking about how they should win. Then they're saying, okay, why are we're behind 8-2, what's going on? And if you start doubting yourself instead of thinking of how you can build the rest of the game, that becomes a big thing. And that's why they're taking the pause right now, also to get control over a lot of things they're doing wrong in the game. But I hope Smiths can be this calming voice of the team. And that's also, I think, where he helps the team a lot, because he is this kind of like rock-solid person who everyone on the team likes. They all respect him. And when he says something, then they're going to listen. Because he's going to be in there and saying, okay, guys, relax, you can do this.
Obviously, he does have that silky, smooth French accent as well. It just warms your heart. But as we head into this round, we are going to be seeing G2 with a bye together. And what was looking like a very stagnant CT side this time has been switched up at least a little bit. They took Kenny over towards B early on. He has now rotated back over towards A since, but Shocks and Body on this B bomb site, making their way down Banana. Tricked and now pushing up towards A, and this time they haven't gone for any banana aggression. Instead, they've sent everyone up towards mid. They're lining up the smokes and flashes, and they're ready to go in. Kenny will be falling on back, playing it over towards Arch. There isn't a smoke for him as they just smoke up long, and now they make their way up through short and Boiler. Apex on the site has a lot of work to do. Just walking out into the open. Easy Tag finds the first. He goes down. Kenny next to fall. MBK, so much on his plate, and he's looking to try and devour it. Gets one, gets himself a second. The UMP raining death in from Pit. Body's on the rotate as well. In from Banana to try and reinforce this hold. The bomb is going to go down. MBK can't stop that, but he has bought time for Body to make his way around. Freeze over in Apps will go down. They turn it back into a 2-on-2. The Molotov misses, so MBK lives to fight another day as they try and hold back their hopes of winning this round. And well tricked. They rotate players around. They've got the player on the side, the former Hunden. Bart making his way up through short as well. They have a crossfire set up, but Body doesn't care for crossfires. Now MBK emerges from Pit. Body finds Hunden on the site. Down he goes, and G2, they're going to pick up a third round on the back of that pause.
That was a really impressive retake. Because to be honest, G2 shouldn't have won that, in my opinion, but they just played it so perfectly in that retake. And that's where you have to give credit to a player like Body, because he's someone who, maybe someone in the community, like a lot of the community have been criticizing for not reaching like top levels. I think in the last 3 months, his level has been absolutely like top. And he's been very consistent. And he's coming in here with a retake in a round that's very important for his team because they're behind now. He's coming in with a triple kill there, doing that retake. Very nice play from him. And now, 8-3 is the scoreline between these two teams. And well, let's see here what's going to happen. We do have Kenny S on the AWP on the CT side, Freeze in the AWP on the T side, so no double AWP setups. And already, once again, map control taken in the apartments from the terrorists.
Yeah, this time though, there is an MBK over towards balcony to try and hold this back just that little bit more. Nothing really changing here with G2's setup though. They have remained quite stagnant. They've played it very much the same. This time, the thing they swapped out after the pause is that Shocks no longer rotates off that B bomb site. He seems a lot more fixed. And I do think that's benefited them quite a lot. If they do decide to go B, they're going to have that extra crossfire set up. Meanwhile, Trick this time, they're going to do what they've done in the last couple of rounds where they found success. They sent these two players over towards B.
Double stack on Banana though.
Something, yeah.
This is risky from the CT side.
Yeah, as Zesty Tag tries peeking over the top. Down goes Shox as...
They know the second guy is there due to the flashbang, so they have to re-pick him.
Yeah, but Body does at least find the trade. It's going to go into a 4-on-4. The bomb's actually rotated back around towards Banana as Freeze is here with the AWP. He goes in for the shot and he misses it. Body's going to capitalize on that all day long, turning it into a 2-on-4. The bomb trying to find something on the back of Hunden, and he does so in through the smoke. Apex going to get toppled. They've still got a lot of work left to do. The rotate looking like it might come in from G2, but instead they opt to have Kenny hold position over in Library, and this could come back to punish them here. They've got to be aware that there's at least one of these players over towards B, and at this point, I couldn't imagine it being a fake with 15 seconds left. Kenny only just rotating around now, but it doesn't matter because Body's here. He finds the first, but Borup is there to return. Time is of the essence, and Kenny is more than aware of that. Watching the angle, he finds the frag, and G2 pick up a 4th round.
A nice play once again by Kenny. He is really picking up the game right now. Him and Body especially are doing the main thing. Kenny hasn't gotten a lot of frags, but the frags that he's gotten are what we call high impact frags. And holding a bomb site down like that, making sure that Borup can't clutch that 1v2 is very important for him, shutting that one down. Money's still good on the Trick side. They have 5 AKs now. Freeze, of course, with that AWP miss. Probably maybe a good idea for him to stay off the AWP for a little bit and play more execute heavy T-side utility style. So that's the case right now. Mola goes down to the bottom of Banana to kind of deny that control. Meanwhile, Trick, they're moving once again up in apartments. And right now they're getting the apartments map control for free on this T side. G2 are not contesting it at all.
Yeah, this time they're going to go for the waterfall play out through balcony, and MBK is here brilliantly posted up to try and counter exactly this, but they lose everyone else on the A site. It's all on MBK, and he's going to get 2, gets himself 3 in total. The hat trick is complete, but now it's all on Freeze. The lone Dane finds himself fighting, fending off Body and Shox as he tries to make some presence out towards his A bomb site. Just going to be working it around over towards Short, clearing out these angles. He's still got plenty of time left to play around with the flank pending. Coming in through balcony, they do clear things out, and actually he might rotate over towards B. He's been able to make his way out in through mid. Shox should hear this though, and he's actually going to check it. Freeze just manages to escape.
He sees it though.
Yeah,
So,
he does get the information.
yeah, quick rotation coming in from both GT players. Freeze will not have many seconds after that bomb is planted. Actually, he'll have like two seconds, and then he has to get into his post-plant position. Has a Molotov, but I don't think he can use that unless he gets the first frag. Let's see.
Yeah, they're pushing on in. They've still got a smoke and a molly between them. Smoke's going to go down straight away to try and ward off any player over towards Coffins. He just waits, plays it perfectly, peeking on out. Body's going to go down, and down goes the second as well. Shox couldn't quite trade that back as Freeze clutches things out 1v2, and he keeps the hopes and dreams of Tricked burning and alive 4-9 as they look to try and extend their lead that much further, approaching the end of the first half. I don't think we could have asked for anything better. The resurgence was looking like it had come in from G2, but then suddenly Trick go ahead and step things up once again.
That was ice cold from Freeze. The way that he just knew that that was a fake defuse in that smoke, because you can tap that bomb easily and just go on it in a 1v2, but he knows it's a fake. He goes and win the duel. NBK has had a good game so far. He actually, in that round before, he actually played really well. This time picks up a scout, doesn't really do anything for him. Now the rest of his teams are on pistols, and actually they're going to try and get that scout over towards long, and that's going to be the case. Nope, it actually isn't.
No, because it's hard to do anything when you just get massacred in mid as Trick to make their way out, showing no mercy. It is all on Apex, so only gets 1. Wasn't too confident in his digging ability there after he struggled to hit the scout in mid. But yeah, it's all on Body. He's clutched out a lot of good things in the past, but with only a USP and a 1v3, he couldn't do it. Now it's the last round of the half. A pivotal moment here for G2 to try and pick up a 5th. The Frenchman in home turf, on the back foot, and you know, one that everyone's here very much to see, find themselves 6 rounds behind. And like I said, the atmosphere is kind of that of, I don't know, one that's very worrying across the board. Everyone entirely silent. While there was kind of cheers and whatnot coming from the crowd, now it is just met with silence. This time, the bomb from Trick slowed down substantially, and actually Body's going to be burnt down in that Molotov already, so bit of a bad start. Almost immediately, the bomb's made its way up through alt mid. Once again, apps control taken by Trick, and that's something that G2 haven't been able to adapt to. They just haven't bothered challenging it, and you know, that can work out, but it hasn't been working out for G2.
Yeah, and there's not really much like G2 can do different. They're just getting outplayed utility-wise and execute-wise on this T side from Tricked. According to my prediction, G2 should win the rest of the rounds in this game, but, well, that's probably not going to happen. I would like it to happen. I'd like for G2 to come back right now and just wreck Tricked off the face of the earth, but the way that they've played so far on this T side, I think Tricked are actually going to get the 11-4 here, but NBK wants it differently, steps it up, takes down Asilian. And now there's a chance because there's a stack on this B bomb side, but Body drops down and dies. And now the bomb is pushing in.
Yeah, they're just going to charge on through. They cut the site in half with the smoke. Shoxy does find one through the smoke, but it's Apex who has to make a difference, and he's going to do exactly that as him and Kenny, they combine. Find 2 frags between them. Now it's all on Freeze. We've seen him clutch it out 1v2 again. This time it's a 1v3. He's got to do all that plus more, but he spots out Kenny, looking to try and find himself his second frag, pulling this back into a one-on-one potentially, but Kenny says no, and that'll be G2 to find a 5th at least. 5-10. 5 rounds behind as we head into the T side, but they could still pull this one back.
Very important that they get this last round, because I thought with Trick, if Trick gets an 11-4 and then maybe gets a pistol round, it's going to be very hard for G2 to come back. Now they have 5. If they win the pistol round now, they have a decent chance of coming back, because then it's going to be 8-10 before we hit the first buy round. So G2, of course, very bad first half, during taking into account how they usually play and what they want out of this game, because they wanted an easy win here, let's be real. This has not happened, but still 5 rounds, they can work with this. We know that G2 are a very good team of getting into peaks and getting into duels. We know Kenny S as an AWP plays a very, very good T-side AWP as well. We know Shox can make his way inside. We have Apex, one of the best entry fraggers in the game, in my opinion. So G2 have a lot they can work with on this T-side. One thing we have to note about the CT side is that on the CT side for Trick, the way that they structure it, they don't have an actual caller for the CT side. Hunden does the executes and defaults on the T side, but for the CT side, Trick, they make decisions as a team. So if they can, G2 can make Trick doubt themselves and maybe over-communicate, that could be one of the entries into the second round or second half. Here we go. G2 Tricked. Pistol round incoming.
Yeah, no utility for G2. It is just armor across the board, which really does suggest they want to go fast and aggressive. And Tag might be able to give them the early advantage that they see, because he desperately scrambles out of apps. G2 just going to soar on through it. It looks like it's going to be the waterfall play now. They have to find Tag, or else he could just light these players up in pit. He's trying to do exactly that, but Shox takes his head clean off in retort. Down goes Hunt, and this is the start that G2 needed over on their T side. Apex watching the push in through library, going to get one, but then swiftly traded out by Freeze. And we'll be at 2-on-4, but the bomb's gone down, and G2 looking in good form. But Borup and Freeze, the 2 players who have kind of been the clutch kings of Tricked, still left alive. Down goes Freeze. It is all on Borup, and he can't get anything done. MBK finishes him, and that is G2 to pick up the pistol, and this is where they can potentially find, what, a 9-10, 8-10. 8-10 scoreline, yeah.
Yeah, before the first Byron comes in. And that's exactly what I've been looking for G2. Now they're controlling the pace. They decide if they're going to go for a quick play, if they're going to go for a slow play. And they get out, they win the duel to get that bomb down, get in post plant, kind of exploit the rotation of Tricked. And that's a really nice, smart, intelligent Counter-Strike that I've been waiting for to see from G2. And now they've done it. On the CT side, only pistols. On the T side, they're almost all upgraded to AKs. I'm looking for some long-range duels and looking for some aggressive plays from G2 now to dominate their opposition.
Yeah, they've stacked mid, and Hunden's going to be able to find it first. They're doing a boatload of damage, and this is so bad for G2 as they walk into a massacre. It will be turned around by Body and Shox as they manage to trade things back into a 2-on-2. They know that Freeze is there, and that nade's going to tag him down that much more. Shox trying to watch the angle, but he's going to allow Freeze to cross for the time being. Bomb will go down. It's a 2-on-2. G2 do have weapons and armor to play around with, but Tricked, I mean, they've got armor pistols, so they're still going to be in a good way. That smoke isolates Shox from pit. He can't help out Body whatsoever, and as he goes down, this is looking very bad now. It's all on Shoxy, the headshot machine.
Who else would you have in a 1v2?
Let's see, yeah, exactly. I mean, he's like the clutch king for G2. Let's see if he can try and make this work. Asilian, though, going to go for the peek, and down he goes. That's Trick to find themselves in the 11th round.
And you could hear one voice in that crowd, and that was one of the Trick players in the booth. And that's how it is. Trick turn it around, and G2 gets surprised. And just as I was starting to praise G2 for coming back into the game and showing us solid Counter-Strike, intelligent Counter-Strike, they get upset by that pistol round. It, of course, shows that Trick made good decision-making on stacking that mid, but it also shows how powerful pistols are in CSGO. That is absolutely ridiculous. G2 buy rifles and still get outplayed by pistols on this Trick side.
Yeah, that's so bad for them. As now they force buy down. They've got Tech 9s UMP up on MBK as he's been doing some serious work with it, but that's really it. They've got a little bit of utility to play around with. And they're making their way over towards Apps once again. Perhaps we're going to see that waterfall in through balcony once more as they rush players over towards there, but this time you've got EasyTag pushed on up to counteract exactly this. Smoke is going to go down. Molotov starting to try and hold back the rush. MBK pushes through, but no one's there to follow him. Yeah, the Molotov keeps them back. No trades can be found. And now the push going to be coming on through as the Molotov does fade. That nade's going to find some good damage anyway. And G2, they're looking reluctant up now about heading out towards A at all, and instead going to double back over towards B. But Tricked haven't rotated a single player off.
The utility usage so far on the CT side from Trick has been absolutely stellar. The timing as well from S-Attack on those two nades, the Molotov and the HE grenade he threw, on point. The smoke's in mid as well. Now let's see, G2 are rotating onto this other bomb site, and if they can get the first peek here onto Asilian, it's going to be hard for the second guy to hold it. Molotov goes down, so here we go.
Yeah, pushing in towards B. And while G2, they've got their work cut out for them. Apex has slithered on by in towards CT, but this has been communicated, and Freeze to be able to find that first. Borup gets the next two, looking to try and get three, but Shox does at least get one in retort. Quickly silenced out by Hunden and Tricked. You've got to admire how just strong they've looked up against a team like G2, the French super team here.
There's one thing that I'd like to know, which we cannot find out. I'm going to ask the players, because they had one T remaining, and they had two guys pushing in from CT with UMP 45s. We saw, I don't know who it was on top of Coffins with the AK. He stepped back. Did he step back to let the UMP player take the kill and get more money? That is like a very small thing, but insanely cool if that was the case. But back to another insanely cool thing is Freeze stepping up. Of course, just against Decofrax right now, they're stacked with the Deagles down towards T slope. Trying to get that one Deag magic, but didn't work out. Freeze with the AWP, taking it. And starting what could be the 13th round from Tricked. This is absolutely insane for new viewers just tuning in. Tricked are playing out of their minds right now because G2 are a strong team, and they're not playing that bad in my opinion. They're just getting outplayed by Tricked. Tricked is just playing so well.
Yeah, Kenny though with that pocket AWP in towards the B-bomb site does find two, and that nade's gonna do a boatload of damage. He's only on 4 HP, still alive and kicking though, looking to try and be a real threat. And you'd hope on 4 HP they should be able to find him, but no one wants to peek into the mighty Kenny. Down he goes, actually, as Hunden does accept the challenge. Now it's all on MBK, 1v3 with only a Deag in hand. Not looking good, and he will go down. Trick, find a 13th. And at this point, you know, they're going to be poised, what, 2 rounds away from map point. G2 have so much ground to cover. And the real question is right now, you know, we should get some of these fans out in the crowd to go ahead and put up some posters, because everyone's asking the same question. Where is Apex?
Oh, yeah. He has not been present so far, and he's the one you look to at on the T side because he is the entry fragger. Right now, it's Kenny doing entry fragging with the Deagle here. But of course, with them getting the bomb down, they're going to have all the money they want on the T side. They can get the utility. They can get Kenny on the AWP. So this is the round where I'm looking to G2 to make this difference. If they don't make a difference right now, I think this is going to be the win for Trick. And that is upsetting, to say the least. Oh, wow, okay.
Back utility down through
what
banana.
Can you do? What can you do against that? Like, you see Shox shaking his head.
Yeah, he goes down already. The man advantage secured early on by Trick. Now G2, they've got to try and remain resilient to come back from losing this man early on. They look to make their way out through mid. Pop Flash going to come through. Kenny misses that opening shot. And that's already allowed Freeze to fall on back. Count himself lucky. Going to be tagged down low once again on the utility, and the utility usage right now for Trick has been pivotal. It's been so key to their success, and it's just been brilliant across the board. That nade, even though MVK finds himself, you know, tucked away in and over towards Apps, he still gets tagged down low. Freeze trying to fall on back, Molotov's it. And that's going to mean that Hunden, who's rotating around, can find Apex as he tried to wait for the Molotov to fade out. He will go down. The man advantage is secured at that much more here by Trick, and now MBK up towards short. Pop flashed back, can't take this peek to try and find some sort of entry out towards A. They've rotated a Cillian round as well over towards CT spawn to play that floating roll. MBK in towards the site, does go down. EasyTag finds body, it's all on Kenny S, who tries to make a difference, only gets one. And then Tricked shut him down before he can get so much as his foot in the door. 6-14, Tricked 1 round away from map point.
I was saying that Trick would have a good chance of getting a good result here, of course, with the 10 rounds that I predicted, but I never predicted it could go this far. I have a big amount of respect for G2 as a team and also the players as individuals as the rest of anyone in CS has, but this is insane. And also the way that Trick have won this game. Of course, we've been seeing Apex has been missing and Kenny S has actually been handling a lot of shots, but the rest of the team has not really stepped up as much. It's pretty much only Buddy and Kenny S, in my opinion, who's been playing up to their usual level, but still, every single time they get shut down, G2, they get shut down by the utility usage of Trick. And that's the most impressive thing because it's not aim duels, it's not random stuff, it's utility usage that constantly shuts G2 down and pressures them away from doing the picks that they usually want to do, taking the usual duels. Right now, they're just buying everything they can. It's Tech 9s, it's UMPs, it's Galils, a little bit of utility. They're looking for a miracle right now.
Yeah, well, they need a miracle. And it might just present itself in the form of Kenny over towards mid. He's scoping out the angle, but Freeze is locking it down with the AWP. If he misses this first shot, this could give rise to the rush, and he's going to be flushed back straight away. Does make it around the corner just in the nick of time. Now going to pop flash himself out, goes in for the peek. He's fully flashed himself and somehow still alive, falling back into the site, but in him and Easy Tag both go down. It's Hunden to try and trade things out, and he does get two before he's dealt with by Shoxy, who now has the AWP to play around with. Borup and Asilian to come back in and try and retake this. Both players situated over towards that B bomb site.
Good choice.
And they're just going to opt to save, looking to try and play things safe. When you look at the economy of Trick, it's fairly strong, but they're still at that point where it could potentially be broken within the next couple of rounds. They're just going to play things safe.
Asilian on 2800 is of course the one that sticks out. But I agree, they could go for this. It's a 2v3. They have some utilities to work with. They have both kits, but they're playing the long game right now. They know that they have 14. That means they can wait. They can also, if they, I don't know, I know the economy is not for it right now, but if they wanted, they could take an eco and it wouldn't be a problem because they know they're so far ahead that they can wait for the perfect round, the perfect setup. And now the crowd is getting a little bit alive. I like that. Of course, cheering for the comeback here. It is still possible. G2 are a team that have made comebacks before. The players individually know how it is to perform under pressure, and they do have the individual level to bring this one back. But they need every single bit of energy. If you watch Dragon Ball Z, this is kind of a Genki Dama situation where all the G2 players just have their hands up in the air, asking the crowd to give them energy because they need it right now. They need every single bit of help they can get.
That was the nerdiest reference I've ever heard used in my life, but here we go.
I can go further, don't worry.
It only gets worse from here on in. Around 22, Asilian going to be answering the problems that have been presented by G2 with aggression down through Banana. Borup's here as well, and actually, that smoke completely locks G2 out as they try to hold things very aggressively here. They have the crossfire set up, the bait and switch, Asilian to fall back, and then Borup to pounce on out. G2, meanwhile, not really showing much interest. They do still have the bomb back over towards Banana. It would be a shame to see that go down. They really should try and get that the hell out of there. His body currently bomb on his back, somewhat pinned over towards ramp. Could go for the long rotate if he wants to, but I think they want to try and turn this into an opportunity, right? You've got two players pushed all the way down Banana. You could find yourself the entry. MBK is going to be tagged down low in the meantime as they leave him to fend for himself out towards the A bomb site. Now they rotate Kenny around to try and help out, and it looks like B's going to be the slight question. They have to check the angle. Borup's watching it, and they don't. This is where he pounces. Asilian and Borup, they've done so much work here for Tricked, and they're going to do even more. Borup peeks on out, finds three. There is no stopping this man, and then Hunden to find the last. Tricked arrive at map point. And I mean, I know everyone here is G2 fans, but you have to appreciate just kind of the resilience of Tricked and how well they've been playing up against a team that is leaps and bounds ahead of them on paper.
This is the biggest match of Borup's life so far, and he's absolutely wrecking it right now. He's second in frags, and funnily enough, can we see the scoreboard maybe just for a second? Because I want to see if Hunden is actually top fragging. This is how insane this game is. Hunden is top fragging, boys. Tricked about to take it against G2, 15-7. Shox is buying all out, going AK. The rest of the team on pistols. Full setup for Tricked on that CT side, who are looking phenomenal so far.
Yeah, three players over towards Banana. G2 looking to try and forge a comeback of dreams, but it would be 8 rounds consecutively to take this through to overtime. And while Asilian, he's watching the angle on this push towards B, will be hit fully by that flashbang. 2 players for G2 trying to sell the fake, the lurk out towards A. Kenny's already been tagged down low. The rest of the team for G2 pushing on out over here towards B. Already Shocks, hits the dirt, gonna be buried 6 feet under. The smoke goes down to hold back the push, but they're looking like they might just go ahead and push straight through. They lose MBK over on the A bomb site, so at this point, what else do they have left other than to head in towards B? The smoke, the utility usage, just going to completely cancel out any chance of rushing on in and trying to catch these players off guard. They're just going to have to try and push through the smoke, and they're at the full mercy of the aim of Trick. Borup going to find himself here alone, and Kenny does do him the honor of removing his face with the deagle. But it's still a 2v3 retake here for Tricked.
Let's see, Kenny here could be the difference maker here for his team. Does not. Hunden comes in once again. The top fragger of his team taking down Kenny. Now it's all on Apex.
1 versus 3. Bomb ticking away. And he's going to peek on out. The most anticlimactic attempt to clutch ever as Tricked go ahead and pick things up 16-7. Can we get a little bit more noise? Because quite frankly, okay, it's amazing they were able to do this. G2 might have been the one that people came here to support. But my God, how hard Trick fought to go ahead and win this out from G2 is phenomenal. And I think people are going to be talking about this for quite some time.
I'm absolutely stunned, to be honest, because I knew that Trick were going to do well. But as I mentioned earlier, I have so much respect for G2. They're such a good team. And Trick being able to take them out, something like that, you can see, like it's almost like Trick won the tournament. They're that happy because this is such a huge upset. Such a big result for them coming up against some of the best players in the world and taking that. Of course, it's the best of one. We all know best of ones in Counter-Strike. They can be random sometimes, and sometimes the underdog can take the victory. But this is such a huge scalp to take for Trick. I know the desk mentioned it. Playing as a team, we saw the utility usage. We saw the executes on the T side. They did exactly that, Trick, and they did it to perfection.
Yeah, and you know, ultimately G2 just didn't really have an answer to it. Anything they tried didn't work, and I think they kind of got into that bit of a downward spiral, which is fairly common with players, you know, on that team. Most notably, I'd say Kenny's one who is quite, you know, I always say he's quite linked to kind of his emotional side of things. If he's having a good game, my God, do you know it? You know, he'll be up there at the top, 50 frags, you know, just popping heads left and right. If he's not doing so great, then he does start to suffer fairly badly. And, you know, I mean, he was one of the players who was really trying to drive things home. It was really kind of Shocks and Apex who were quite absent. MBK had some performances as well, some fairly high impact frags, but ultimately, they just fell short at almost every kind of hurdle. Tricked looked phenomenal.
Then again, what can you do when God Hunden intervenes and just drops above 20 frags for a game?
This is a very happy day for you, isn't it?
I'm actually, I should be happier in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm a mixture of kind of like very, very stunned about what has just happened. It was phenomenal from Tricked, really. As you said, it's only a best of one, so it's like, how much can we really take from this? But I mean, even for a best of one for them, you saw how happy they were. Clearly, you know, coming into this, they were kind of filling the boots of Gambit, who couldn't make it. So they already had big boots to fill, and I think they've done their job of providing us with one hell of a game thus far. And you know, let's not forget, G2 can still go ahead and fight back. They've still got that opportunity. They're still going to remain resilient, right?
Definitely. And when we're talking about Trick players and them being completely happy, I think we have James on stage right now. So he probably has one of the Danes to talk with. Let's see what he has to say.
Thank you very much, guys. I am here with S-Tag. Pimp backstage when we were watching that, he came into the room and he had a look of surprise on his face, like, what is going on? And I think everyone really feels that way watching at home. How, you know, what was going on there? Like, how you guys must be feeling so upbeat after that.
I mean, it's definitely a surprise that we take it this convincingly, but I was definitely sure we were going to give them quite the competition. Being on French turf, though, I expected them to show up a little bit more, but they had a bad day, we had a good day, and Hunden was off charts, so.
Yeah, he was, like, his frags were really high up. Specifically in the second half there, though, like at Copenhagen game, you had a very good T side, but we saw that the CT side wasn't as strong there, but here, like, it was just as strong. You picked up the second round, and yeah, you played out until the end. So did you make any changes to the CT half on Inferno?
Nah, well, I'm now holding A in pit, and we put Burrow Bubble on B. We're still getting used to our spots. But yeah, it's I think it's more because of our coach, because the second round that we came back, we bounced back, because usually what happens on our CT on Inferno is that we lose pistol, and then it starts snowballing because we get money fucked, and it just goes out of bounds. But our coach told us to stack mid because they tend to go up mid, and we won that round, and then we came back and we had strong economy, and it's
So it was that boost in confidence from the second round, because you feel like you don't normally win those. It was that boost in confidence that did it.
Yeah, I mean, taking both pistols in a sense is always great, and we just took the hype and and took it from there.
And you said to me just before we came on camera, you said, "Oh yeah, we fancied a win today. Do you fancy some more wins?"
Yeah. We're hoping to make it a 2-0 today. That's definitely the plan. Then we can go out and have fun tomorrow. So.
Yeah, well, I can imagine you will do after that. It was a very, very impressive start. Guys, we'll hand it over to the analysis desk with Parla and the guys to look in that a little bit more in depth.
Thanks so much, James. Natu, Pimp, it would seem that we were tricked. G2 ended up on the bottom, bodied, and we are now shocked because of it. P.S. Asilian. I don't know, just thought that would be nice to throw in there. What a matchup, right? The Danes have come out on top. We did it. You did it. Not we. I'm not Danish. Please, how are you feeling right now? That's like a family victory.
Now I feel happy on their behalf. More than I feel happy, I'm shocked on G2's behalf, though. That was I know the feeling that they're playing on home turf. They must be embarrassed at some point right now. It's not fun for them.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, we talked about bananas and peeling a banana. I think the trick is definitely peel G2's banana because I think that perfect start for Trick for sure. They went for a play towards the B in the first weapon round where Shocks threw a smoke towards where the little wall is to make it seem like they were holding pretty aggressively in banana, but instead he rotated towards A bomb side. Body was left alone in B, and there was a full-on execute from Trick to that bomb side, and eventually they just decided to save weapons once they lost the first guy in a 4-on-5 situation. It kind of set the tone for that half, and then afterwards it felt to me that Trick were given a lot of entries, that they were giving a lot of 5-on-4 opportunities. For example, they would come out of boiler or middle, get a pick on someone on top of middle, and then they would have a lot of the ground to work with. That's the point where the G2 had to kind of make a play afterwards, but instead they went back, kind of played passively, and that's when their individuals almost bailed them out a few times. MBK, with the UMP, for example, and Trick making a few mistakes here and there. Even though they had the man advantage, they would take one extra peek they never had to, so they could have even won that more convincingly that first half. And what I was happy about was second half. For them, that they had definitely figured things out, because banana control again for them as well at Copenhagen Games was very, very questionable. But this time they went for hyper aggression, smoking all the way down in banana. And it so happened in the round, I think it was the fourth round of the second half, where they double Molotoved banana, and G2 really went for aggression. They wanted to take it over right away instead of waiting to see how do the CTs approach banana. And it kind of cost them the whole game in the end of the, well, it was the last bit that really turned the tides for Trick.
Nail in the coffin. Well, we saw Hunden, of course, top fragging on the Danish side of Trick, but Barup as well. He seems to be quite the talent. Like, I don't know too much about him. Were you expecting him to be a key factor in this matchup?
No, not necessarily. Like as I said before the game, it's a team game, especially for Trick, as they are like playing more as a team. He definitely played well. He's only 17 years old, so you can never really expect a guy of that age who had never tried this before to show up that big. But it's great for him that he already now has a feeling of how it is to perform on a big stage like this against a big team like G2 on their home turf. You know, that's a great sign for him and for Trick for the future. Yeah,
and obviously a great call from the coach, as we heard from the interview. That second round, if G2 wins the pistol round, they like to go for middle, but what is G2 doing? Like, why don't they isolate one of the sides? If they want to take over middle, please smoke either left or right and decide, pick your poison, basically. If you go quad or you go arch side, and then you kind of go, well, don't go quad. That's rule number 1 in anti-ecos. So you smoke right side, you go arch, you take that part over. But instead, they went to wide open middle, and that just got manhandled by Trick there. So yeah, it's just these little mistakes they keep doing that are costing them.
But I feel like we talked about that before the game as well. Like, Trick needed to play as a team, and we also talked about like G2, if they went in with like no respect at all, Trick actually had the opportunity and the room to actually like screw them over as they did, you know. And so to me it seemed like G2 went in with no respect at all. Like you pointed out the shock thing on banana. Like, instead of waiting out the first buy round, see how they play the default, see how they take banana control, he just went straight up and like gambled the whole. Like, at that point that was the whole game, because they're always behind. You know, you don't do that against a team that you respect or you actually like care about, if you can say so. So it was just G2 to me not showing respect, not hitting their shots. You even saw in the first pistol round, like they missed tons of USP shots. They should have won the first pistol round, but they missed too many shots, and Trick ended up by winning it. So it was just like total off game from G2, and to me, it seemed like they didn't respect Trick at all, and Trick just took advantage of that playing as a team.
Yeah, I mean, like we said with regards to Na'Vi and Misfits, pistol rounds would be important, but Tricked got so many gun rounds in there. They clearly have some talent, and they were playing very, very well as a team. They will be moving on to the winners bracket of their group. G2 will be, of course, dropping down. Now, that will be it for that matchup. We still have 4 more games today. By the way, if you'd like to keep up to date with any of this, make sure you download the Strafe Esports app. A big shout out to them for sponsoring the tournament. Now, do not go anywhere. We will be back very soon for our 3rd match of the day. We'll see you shortly.